Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Hope you're having a wonderful day. We're talking about 10 products to avoid for Star Wars Legion. This is a little different. I used to do what to buy first videos, and Star Wars Legion is currently going through a rebranding and kind of a relaunch at the moment, and currently it's sort of impossible for me to create a what to buy or an updated what to buy first video because so much stuff is out of stock and so much stuff is getting reprinted and repackaged, and we really don't know exactly what new Battle Force boxes and starters are going to look like at the moment. So in lieu of that, of course, those things will be coming in the future. I wanted to talk about some things that I think you should avoid, especially with a new edition and a new launch and an entirely new line of Star Wars Legion products that are just around the corner. Also, if you guys are interested in games like this, I'd love to have you stick around. We talk a lot about Star Wars. We talk a lot about tabletop gaming, and I'd love to have you hit that subscribe button, click that bell for alerts, like the video, share the video, all that good stuff. Plus, we're still doing a $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. To enter to win that, you just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos that enters you to win. I typically announce winners towards the end of my videos. This one will run for about 2 weeks. And so you can put that towards a gaming expansion of your choice, but hopefully not towards one of the products that I'm going to talk about in today's video. So with all that being said, here are 10 things to avoid for Star Wars Legion. And now, keep in mind, this list is based on my opinion. It's not things that you shouldn't ever get, but I'm just things that I'm not recommending. And I'll talk about why. Some of it is based on product changes, some of it is based on value, and some of it is just plain my opinion. So, and you're free to disagree with me. All right, so let's talk about first thing on here is Vital Assets. This was one of the expansions that I would recommend first in all of my what to buy first videos. It was one of like the top 3 or 4 things because it brought new battle cards to the game. It brought some really cool stuff. It was a big game changer for Star Wars Legion. All of that is completely illegal now. You can't even, it brought this awesome deck of cards for one, like a really cool deck of cards that you could have little supplies that were like has cache of supplies that were hidden around the battlefield. Can't use it anymore. In Legion 2.6, which was basically a second edition of Star Wars Legion, they completely changed the entire battle system, and all of this stuff is now garbage. Now, technically, when I say it's garbage, there's 2 models in here you could use. You've got a Neimoidian, and then you've got another, like a Senator Chuchi or whatever her name was, and you could use those miniatures as like stand-ins for something, but you can't even use the hostage miniatures anymore. Everything in here is stuff that you could just have as some kind of little, like the mines. There's nothing to do with them. Maybe you could, if you wanted to homebrew them into some kind of diorama or something, I guess you could. So if you saw this for like 99 cents, you're getting a few pieces of plastic that you could maybe use as like, I don't know, diorama stuff. But that's it. That's the only value in this. So it's not worth your time. Next up is also similar vein as Priority Supplies. This one was the first Battlefield expansion that brought some new battle cards to the game of Star Wars Legion. This was a great one. It was a very popular expansion at the time. Of course, this is also hit by the new edition. All these cards don't work anymore. They're completely illegal. This one is sort of hit or miss for me because, again, if you were able to find it in a bargain bin where it was like $1 or less, then maybe for the moisture evaporators, because the moisture evaporators are kind of cool if you're adding them to a terrain piece and if you're in the business of building terrain or you wanted to use them as scatter terrain. But you can't even use them as objectives anymore because objective sizes have been changed to these POIs that went from like this size to like that big. They're Pokeballs now. So, and with the crates and stuff like that you're going to see, like there's an abundance of terrain that's out there for Star Wars Legion. And a lot of this type of stuff is a dime a dozen. So there's almost no value in picking up this pack unless you're able to get it practically for free, in my opinion. Next up, the Wookiee Warriors. Now, this is a loaded one. because there have been two Wookiee Warriors expansions. The one I'm primarily talking about is the one on your top left, the original Wookiee Warriors expansion. This one was made in a soft plastic and was a Rebel kit. It has been since replaced with the Wookiee Warriors expansion you're going to see in the bottom kind of center. And that one has everything that the top one has and more, and a lot more. It's now a multi-faction pack. Matter of fact, most cases, because the upper left, the old Wookiee Warriors expansion is so old, I've seen it actually be marked up in price because the sculpts were slightly different. It was a slightly worse grade of plastic. It's that soft plastic. It's not a very good style of plastic. In every conceivable way, the newer expansion is far superior. The only difference really is that the sculpts have been updated, so if you're a collector looking for like a rare or vintage item, that older Wookiee Warrior expansion with their, older plastic and their slightly older sculpts might be valuable to collectors. But that's really the only thing that's going on there. And even this Wookiee Warriors expansion is also going to be redone with the new edition. So this is going to be the first expansion that's been done 3 times once it finally comes out. But the older one is the least value, the least bang for your buck out of all Wookiees. If you're still interested, and again, for just about any expansion right now, I would probably hold off until the new version comes out, because you're going to have to replace and upgrade and get new stuff. And the way that they're packaging some of the new expansions, it's you may end up saving money, since they're putting about double the unit size per box. So unless you get a really good deal, I'd shy away from it. Next up, the Barricades pack. This one is less about the price, because this one was even MSRP'd at, I think, only $9.99. So it was never an expensive expansion pack to begin with. It was just never really a desirable pack for so many reasons. For one, because you get Barricades in the core set, and pretty much everybody who already started out with a full set of Barricades. Anybody who played the game never really needed these. People who play the game tend to already have terrain. The only people that were, I think, buying this were people that just happened to have no terrain and also had no desire to get terrain, and maybe they found it on sale. I'm really not sure who the target audience was for the Barricades pack, but it was an item that existed. It's even less valuable now because Barricades have less value because they took out Force Lift, which was a really cool force ability that actually targeted Barricades and gave you an excuse to have a bunch of them. They removed that one from the game, so you can't even throw Barricades at people anymore. So again, Barricades had some functionality under the old edition, and they have less functionality now than they used to. And even so, you're already getting them in the core set. Now, this might change in the future someday when new core sets come out. Maybe they won't have terrain. Maybe they won't have Barricades. I'm not sure. But I don't recommend you picking up a Barricades pack, because you probably have already got a core set if you're a Legion player. You probably have way more Barricades than you will ever need in there. Upgrade card packs is another one. There are actually 2 upgrade card packs. I'm just using the one image, though. Both of them I don't recommend, because primarily we are on the cusp of having all new upgrade card packs come out with the new art style. Anything that you get in these old upgrade card packs is going to be outdated, is going to be, and a lot of stuff is already, especially in upgrade card packs 1 and 2, both. There's cards that are already like outlawed, or not outlawed, but just obsolete. There's cards that have been changed significantly and dramatically, and the art style is totally different. There's really not much value to get out of these, unless, of course, you're planning on playing in the old edition. If you're looking to get upgrade card packs, I would recommend you just wait a little bit until the new upgrade card packs come out. Besides, anything you need right now, they're kind of just allowing print and play in the interim. So, you print out your list. If you're using like Tabletop Admiral or something like that, you can just print out your list and go from there. You technically, in tournaments, you're required to have a copy of the original card, which might be the only reason to have something like this. If there was a card that you just needed that was found in one of the 2 existing upgrade card packs, and a TO wouldn't let you play. It's a very, very obscure corner case for why you would actually need this now. I don't recommend it. wait for the next set of upgrade card packs. That's the one that you're going to want to get. And I think they're going to be doing multiples of them. I think they're doing upgrade card packs per faction, as well as like mercenary upgrade card packs and all of that. There's going to be quite a few of them. But they're going to nickel and dime you for it for sure. And that's why it would hurt even worse to buy these and then realize, oh, I have to throw those out and buy and replace them with all new upgrade card packs. That's, again, only if you're trying to get the most current and up-to-date stuff. Even the new upgrade cards will, I'm sure, see errata and stuff someday. So it's just a never-ending cycle. Fortunately, upgrade card packs tend to be fairly cheap items. They're usually around $10 or less. Let's talk about terrain, because both AMG and Fantasy Flight like to put out terrain. And this is in a different category that's a little bit more opinion-based and a little more value-based. And so, there's a couple of reasons why I don't recommend getting the Imperial bunker. For one, it is obscenely expensive. I think this one was $100. I think it was the most expensive terrain piece they ever did, and just didn't really feel like you spent $100 on terrain for your tabletop, because it was small. It was like this big. It was a single piece. Everything went in there. One of the saving graces for the old FFG terrain kits is that you also had a scenario that you could play. You had this whole set of battle cards that you could play. And even under the new rules, even those are kind of thrown out the window. Now, of course, you could find a way to still run them if you really were determined to do it, but they're not going to be compatible with the new version of Legion. So again, so even those scenarios aren't going to work. It's just, and granted, I do think that this piece looked kind of nice. I did pick this one up, actually, and I've even interfaced it with some LV-427 custom terrain to make an entire Imperial bunker. However, at the price point it's at, I don't think it's of good value for terrain when so many people, so many aftermarket third-party companies, great companies, Etsy shops, 3D printers, STL files. There's Imperial Terrain is a great one. A lot of companies are making amazing terrain at a fraction of the cost of like paying, Asmodee for their terrain. You can just get better terrain in so many other places. And that's going to be a fact that informs the next couple of things that we're going to look at. The downed ATST, maybe the worst piece of terrain of all time, in my opinion. This one wasn't as expensive as the Imperial bunker. This was the first one they did over at FFG. This one was in like a weird, like a soft plastic, and you had to glue some of the pieces on, or they didn't want to glue on. I had the hardest time actually getting this thing assembled. It was a nightmare. It also had its own scenario. Again, those battle cards don't work. It's just a single piece, small. Not really that impressive. I think unless you get it on a clearance loadout, I think you could do a much better job just buying a model kit of an ATST and doing your own thing with it. Again, stuff like this, I really like the way Legion Terrain does their stuff. They like, if you want to get an X-Wing or a TIE Fighter, they go straight into, they're like flat on the bottom. So they're going to mix, if you're playing on a snow mat, you can just set them down. If you're playing on a swampy mat, you can just set them down and they blend into whatever terrain you're already running. Whereas something like this, you kind of have to paint it. Like, oh, I'm going to paint this in this deserty, sandy stuff. And now it's going to look out of place if I ever wanted to run this on a snowy Hoth board or something like that. Or if I painted it snowy, then I couldn't use it in a jungle board and so on and so forth. So again, I'm not a fan of this type of terrain, and that's one of the things that they tend to do. Moving on next, similar function, the crashed X-Wing. This one was done by AMG. I think may have been started under FFG, but was finished by AMG. It falls into the same category of, okay, you're getting a big piece of terrain, but it's not that big. And this one's a little more expensive. You do get a downed Rebel pilot with it and a scenario. Again, you can't really run the scenario. The downed Rebel pilot originally was supposed to come with like a alternate card that you could use him actually in your games as a fleet trooper, but that ended up not even making it into the box. So you don't even get that. And to me, frankly, like, I wanted a whole unit of Rebel pilots, not just one miniature who's also like on the ground. I don't even think it's that great of a pose personally. But again, I really prefer the way Legion Terrain does their X-Wings. I think a lot of other companies have X-Wings that are, like into your they're just flat on the bottom. You don't have to get all this terrain. Like if you paint this up like this, it's snowy. How are you going to use this in a swamp? How are you going to use this on Dagobah? You know, if you paint it in a swamp, how are you going to use it on Hoth? So again, I don't like this style of terrain. This is an opinion piece, but I think you can get much better terrain from other places for much better cost. Now, if you find something like this in a bargain bin for $1 or $2, then sure, then it's probably worth you picking up. Or if you're just a hobbyist and you just want to pick this up and you just like painting terrain, then go for it. I'm just not recommending it. I don't think it's worth your money. This one is going to be a controversial one. It's the Legion Essentials Kit. This is something that was a great option when it first came out. And as battle forces were coming out, they wanted to have different options. Not everybody had to buy the starter anymore. They came out with the Essentials Kit, and this one had all the tokens you need. It had objective tokens. It had condition tokens. It had all these tokens. A lot of this stuff totally illegal now with the new version of Star Wars Legion. So that's one big reason that this is on here. Also, it's not a complete waste, but again, it was priced a little higher because it does have some dice. It does have some range tools and some maneuver tools, but it doesn't have everything. There's new range tools that exist that, like the half range tool that isn't in here. They're going to have to come out with another version of the Essentials Kit, and I think that they will. And that's why I'm not recommending this one, because while there is some things in here that are valuable, it's always nice to have some more dice. People break range tools all the time, and that makes sense. All of the objective cards that come in here, all of the tokens, or a lot of the tokens that come in here, don't have any function anymore, and so it's an obsolete pack. And I think it MSRP'd for around $30 or somewhere in the $30 range. Definitely not worth that. For the dice and range tools alone, might be worth $1 or $2, maybe even $3 or $4. But again, if you're finding this anywhere close to MSRP, it's definitely not going to be worth it when there's a whole new like starters, a whole new edition that's getting ready to launch its product line. Hopefully here in the next 2 or 3 months. This is an obsolete product, so I don't recommend it. And I think this is the last one on my list here. This is a brand new kit. This is the latest terrain piece. This is in the new Star Wars Legion style. It's that Outer Rim terrain pack. And you may be wondering, why do I have this on my list? And it's frankly because I don't think there's anything here that adds anything to the game of Star Wars Legion. So here's my mindset. This is effectively one wall and a bunch of barricades. These are basically barricade-sized items. And I think it's kind of clever the way that they did it, and they made this like a modular set of things. But again, it's priced out kind of high for something that's effectively barricades that I think every Legion player already has. You're getting like 9 barricade-sized pieces, and then one wall that's a little taller. But that's the only really a piece of terrain that you kind of didn't have already. You're getting some scatter terrain pieces, and they have these 2 little mouse droids, which a lot of people make jokes about the mouse droids, but they're really worthless. It's something that you could put on a base of a character or something like that at some point. And so there's really no value in that unless, of course, you've got to have the mouse droids. But this isn't a cheap item. This is like somewhere around $40 for something, for what I would consider to be basically 9 barricades and a wall, and you're going to get. You just get the barricade pack if you wanted that. And it also goes into the fact that I think by now Legion players already have terrain. Barricades is one of the last things that I think a lot of people need. And so when they announced this, I looked at it and I was sort of like, read the room. I don't think this is what people need. So I'm not recommending this. Primarily just because it just seems like a missed opportunity. I don't understand it. I do have a prediction with this, though. I think that this is the barricade, or this is the terrain they'll probably include in the new starter. I'm guessing that that's what's going to happen. If that's the case, if this is the terrain that comes in a new starter, then it makes sense. This is a fine set of terrain for an entry point for somebody who's just getting into the game. But again, if you're just getting into the game now, you probably want to wait a little bit until the whole new line comes out. Because, yeah, this would be fine if it was somebody who'd never played before. But this late into the game, this isn't a good marketing tool to a brand new player when there's no starters that are actually available. So again, wait. I don't see any value in this right now. If this were to be bundled with a new starter, and that would be an entry point for brand new players, then it makes sense to me. But right now, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't recommend it. So those are 10 things to avoid for Star Wars Legion. We'll be bringing you more information as it comes out. There's going to be a lot of information. Adepticon is next month. I'll be there. I'll be trying to get as much information as I can. And new products, new starters, all that stuff is coming out very soon. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are out of this world and help make this whole channel possible. I will talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes, and always wash your socks.